some of it can be strategic in nature in terms of the I guess the outview, the world view of both China and the U.S. But in terms of just from an economic standpoint, really, I think most companies that are looking at the decoupling are trying to figure out, okay, how do we mitigate the risks in terms of potential tariffs, right? As part of the Phase 1 trade agreement, some of the tariffs were scaled back, but a lot of them still remained. And so what happens is it isn't a total cessation of the tariffs that were already implemented, almost 2 years ago. So what happens is, as part of this decoupling, companies are thinking, okay, what can we do to be able to bypass some of those trade restrictions and the trade tariffs going into the U.S.? That means looking at their supply chain, saying, okay, Apple, for example, looking at, can we start manufacturing in other areas of the world besides just China? I think this is more of a longer term view, is that, moving the supply chain in China is quite mature. It's has a lot of strengths, and so just uprooting that supply chain and moving it to another part of the world, say Vietnam, Southeast Asia, repatriate it to whatever country the operation is in. That's also very, very difficult. That's not going to be done overnight or in the matter of just months. That's a longer term view of how it's actually how you actually need to be able to do it. So what happens is, I think this decoupling we're only starting to see, I think, the beginning of it. I think what you're going to do is you're going to see that decoupling continue probably to expand over the next 1, 2, and 3 years. Because if you look at the trade deal itself, one of the interesting things is some of the major concerns that both China and the U.S. had weren't even addressed in that piece. And as I said before, the tariffs that were implemented as prior to the Phase 1 deal, a lot of those are still in place. So you're going to still see the tariffs, maybe some of them were at 15, now they're 7.5%. Some of them are still at the top end as well. So what happens is that, is it really a robust trade agreement? No, it's more of look at it as, if they call it a trade war, it's more of a cessation of hostilities between the two countries.